Welcome back to Tales from the Shelf. M by Fritz Lang, the same guy who made Metropolis. This is one of the first crime movies I can think of that focuses less on the crime itself and more so on everything around the crime, especially the criminal's mentality. The plot is pretty dark for a 30s movie. It sees Peter Lorre play a child murderer and the efforts undertaken to try and find him. Not only are the police and the common people after him, but even organized crime, since the rise in police activity has damaged their business, so they recruit an army of beggars all over the city to be their eyes. It's not really a whodunit, since the audience knows who the killer is after around the halfway point, so the film instead is about the efforts to catch him and the resulting kangaroo court to try and deliver justice. The court scene at the end is probably the most famous part of the movie, as this is where most of the themes really come into play, as does the mentality of Laurie's character, who has said very little, if not nothing, up to this point. Without going in too deep, the film has themes of insanity, social morality, mob culture, and vigilante justice, just to name a few. Better to see it for yourself, honestly. The title, M, refers to a chalk mark left on Laurie's character to indicate he's the killer once he's been identified. The M stands for Mörder, the German word for murderer. Actually, the original title for the movie was Murderer Among Us, which caused some discord with the Nazi Party, who heard the title and thought it was about them. Lang eventually explained the plot and they relented, but I guess he changed the title regardless. This was Fritz Lang's first sound movie, and boy can you tell. There's no music, which was common at the time, and it really helps add to the moody, grim atmosphere. Keep in mind, sound was still a new thing in movies, so filmmakers weren't sure yet how to properly utilize it. Most sound films at the time lacked music, filling the empty space with more dialogue, often making the scene feel emptier, ironically enough. This movie's smart in that it knows when to have just dead silence, though it can be a bit jarring by today's standards. However, this is said to be the first movie that used a musical leitmotif, that being In the Hall of the Mountain King, which Laurie's character whistles in numerous scenes. Ironically though, Laurie couldn't actually whistle, so he had to be dubbed over in those scenes. Later on in the 50s, there was a Hollywood remake of the movie. It might be a bit more approachable by today's standards, but obviously not as good as the original in my opinion. Who'd have thought? One last unintentionally funny thing I want to highlight is that this movie might have more smoking in it than any other movie I can think of. Seriously, every other scene it feels like the characters are smoking. Sometimes there is so much smoke it blocks the characters' faces. It's hilarious. M is a very important movie in the Grand Pantheon for the ideas it introduced, so anyone interested in the history of cinema should maybe consider this essential viewing.